Okay, so the next terrain piece is important for scenario number 2, and it's a very tall, rocky precipice, and I'm doing it 4 inches deep, right? There's the precipice, and then I'm making it like a large kind of rocky formation. Since I'm going to use tinfoil, what I do is I just put a bunch of foam together, glue in a bunch of foam to a large block of foam. There's a large block under there, and then just put all these random pieces. So when I wrap the foil, it won't be like squarish. It'll have all this weird kind of shapes to it. And then I'll use a little bit of spackling to kind of fill in any holes and provide some texturing, some hot glue to provide a little bit of texturing on the rocks. And that's it. And then I have to put a big giant hand up here. Okay, and this is the terrain piece for scenario number 2 in Ghost Archipelago in the Colossus expansion book. And this is what I came up with. It's supposed to have a precipice. So there's my precipice, and then there's this giant hand that's close to the edge of the rocky formation. And so this is how I depicted it. And so I put in my tinfoil in small pieces so that I can kind of wrap them up and get them around the nooks and crannies of the, foam. And then I add some craft sand here for texturing. And this is actually kitty litter. It's fresh kitty litter that I've had for a long time. But it's really cool because it has different size stones. And yes, it is clean. And then I take some texturing paste and also add some texturing paste in some areas. And that pretty much, here is some more craft sand. And then this has to be painted. And what I do to paint my tinfoil terrain, I always use a Loctite spray glue, this stuff. And this works great. Just spray a nice amount of it all over the terrain and then spray paint it with black paint or whatever it is I'm base coating with. And that helps the paint stick to the foil. And then at the end of everything, once everything is painted, I usually spray it with a varnish. And that my terrain pieces last a long time. So this will be for that scenario, and I'm just waiting now to spray paint the piece and base coat it and then paint that hand. Now for the hand, I use a wire. I use craft wire and then a thick craft wire, make a skeleton of the hand, and then little by little put foil and hot glue until I make the hand, shape it out, and then some texture paste to cover up these the nails here, right, to kind of give it the shape of the cuticle roughly. And this is little bits of craft stick that I cut for the nails. So, and the cool thing is that figures do fit here and they fit on the edge. So once everything is painted, we add some vegetation, we add vines. There are going to be vines everywhere. That's where the characters are going to climb up, and vines along here, along the hand. So still not finished. And Julie just finished dry brushing this piece. This is for the second scenario in the Colossus expansion. I think that's what we're going to be playing next week. We'll be playing 3 scenarios from the Colossus expansion. And so this terrain was needed. And this is how I kind of visualized dry brushing it. And we're going to give it another little dry brush and then coat it with more varnish. So there's the hand, which figures can stand on, and the little ledge there. And then all this needs is vegetation and some vines, and it is done. Okay, and here is the terrain piece with the giant hand. Julie just finished dry brushing, and then I added all the vegetation and all of the vines. I love using twine for vines, and sometimes I'll even soak my twine in paint if I want to change the color of my vines. But I like it this way. And there's the giant hand on the edge, and this is for the Colossus expansion. that we'll be using 3 scenarios from that book to play next week. And there it is. So there is one of the terrain pieces that we will need for that game. So now I covered everything with a varnish, a matte varnish. And this will live in a shelf until we need it. And there it is. The giant hand. And there's a precipice inside the terrain piece. So there we go, folks. Hope you like it. And we hope to be using this terrain piece, a very unique terrain piece, in our games.